It's Wolf, and I have Dakar Desert Rally. It's been a little while since I did a stream or uploaded anything or worked on anything. Not that long, but like 2 weeks, week and a half. I don't entirely remember. Wanted to do a stream just because I haven't done anything lately. And I figured I would, if I think of any more stories from my old job or anything, talk about those or whatever might come to mind. Dakar Desert Rally, I'm mostly playing this just because I happened to have it installed already. I really like this game. It's about the Dakar Rally, and it takes place in Saudi Arabia, I think. And it's pretty straightforward. It's just a rally, well, like a rally raid racing game, and I really enjoy it though. And so I figured, hey, that actually kind of works for a stream too. Looks like I was in the middle of an event, so I will continue this. Some of the races in this game are also like really long, which is kind of cool, but also like I don't know. It almost reminds me of MotorStorm a little bit, but like a more is my vehicle damaged? With a more like serious sort of vibe to it, I guess. Um, but yeah, I as you guys can tell by the title, if you haven't watched my recent streams, I have a new job lined up. So like technically I'm unemployed, but not actually. But I quit my old job like a couple days, well, over a week ago now. And I've been really busy trying to catch up on stuff before I start my new job. Um, I gosh, what have I done? So one of the nice things that I did was I finally got to visit my granny. She lives far enough away that I don't really get to see her too often. It's been a couple years since I saw her, and but it was really nice to go see her. We kind of just talked for like 3 days straight. And it was really cool though. I learned quite a bit about like the family because she actually knows a lot about the family history, both like her side of the family and my granddad's side of the family. Last time I visited, well, my granddad was was still alive at that point. Not to make it depressing, but yeah, he passed away. Gosh, when was that? A couple months ago, going on a year ago now. But last time I visited them was quite a while ago, and I was only able to be there for like a day, not even a full day, because I had to kind of go and then turn around and come back because I didn't actually take any time off of work. But this time I actually got to hang out, so we talked a lot. Um, I really didn't, yeah, honestly, like even though the town she lives in is like a different town and everything, well, a different state and everything, I really didn't do that much there other than just kind of hang out. Um, she lives up in some mountains, which was kind of crazy. Cause I don't know why this time it hit me in particular, but yeah, she is really high up in elevation. It was kind of crazy because at one point I did do a little bit of shopping and I walked out of this one store I was in, and I just remember it was like every direction you looked in, you could just see mountains in the distance, and I was like, wow, this is kind of crazy because like where I live, there's hills and stuff where I live, but it's not really mountainous. So like you look off into the horizon and there's nothing really there. It just kind of ends. But when you're up in the mountains like that, you see all the mountains off in the distance, and it's really kind of neat. Although driving there gave me a little bit of vertigo, because it's sort of a long drive, and it's like so the roads and everything as you get closer to the town she lives in, they just start. There's just nothing that is on equal level with anything else. Um, but yeah, and then I also discovered a really good Chinese restaurant on my way back, which was cool. There was a Chinese buffet that had really good reviews, but I was a little hesitant about it when I first got there because it looked kind of run down. But inside, it was old and outdated, but like it was clean and the food was actually really good. So that was nice. Now I'm hungry for Chinese food. Today was a busy day for me too. I went and gambled a little bit today. Which I always feel weird talking about that because I know gambling is such a like I don't know, it's a controversial thing, I guess. Um but I've pretty much stopped. Like I know last year or whatever it was, I realized that there were casinos around in my area, and at first I was going and um playing slot machines and stuff like that because that was kind of the only thing. But then I got sick of those because you really do just lose money on those so fast. So I know sports betting is similarly almost even more controversial right now than other sorts of gambling, but I've found it to be more enjoyable because usually I just don't tend to lose very much money if I go sports betting. I'm not going to say like I go and I win a bunch of money, but um, like I actually kind of enjoy that and it's not a huge like drain on the wallet because there is some strategy to it. I mean, you always probably still going to lose money, but um, however, I did find something interesting out today. So, in terms of like gambling stuff, I I'm gonna spend a minute talking about this just because it's fascinating in terms of technology. So sometimes, so the place I went is actually technically not a casino; it's a gaming hall that's attached to a horse racing track. Which by the way, I also bet on horse racing today a little bit, which was interesting. I had no idea what I was doing, but I won like $10, so that was okay. But I'm kind of a little morally opposed to horse racing. I feel bad for the horses. Um, but so anyway, a lot of these gaming halls that are attached to horse racing tracks, they don't have slot machines. They have what are called HHR machines, historical horse racing machines. And when I first found that out, I thought it was interesting. So pretty much they look and play like slot machines, but you're actually betting on horse races. And I've still never quite been able to figure out exactly how they work because I've heard differing things on if they work based on like if it works backwards, if you bet $2, if it like bets it on a historical horse race and then the screen kind of just shows stuff to go backwards and like make up however much money you won from the horse race but make it look like a slot machine, or if the reels on the HHR machine are based on the horse races or whatever. But today I saw something really interesting. So they were building something while I was there, and I didn't realize, and they finished it like right as I was about to leave, and somehow they have like a historical horse racing roulette machine, um, which I I really can't kind of wrap my head around how that works. Cause like for the historical horse racing machines that look like slot machines, those are easier to understand because it's like if it's an individual person playing those, but this roulette thing was like a normal roulette thing you would see in a normal casino, where it's like an electronic roulette and it's got multiple stations around, and it's one wheel though, and so since there are multiple people playing it at the same time, I can't quite wrap my head around how that works unless it is like a where the ball lands is based on the horse races rather than like a thing where it's like you're betting on the horse race and then the machine works backwards to show you something that adds up to the amount you won. But yeah, I just thought that was really kind of fascinating. Anyway, that's enough gambling talk. uh what else have I been up to? So I visited my granny, went to the gaming hall today. I've gotten a lot done. I've had a lot of stuff that I wanted to get done before I start my new job, and I've accomplished most of it, which is nice. I did a ton of laundry, and I had to get some new clothes because my new job doesn't have like a super crazy strict dress code type thing, but since I'm working for a level of government, you gotta dress smartly. And I didn't really have any like smart clothes, so I had to get some, and then I had to wash all those, and gotta try to make sure those are not wrinkled and stuff. But did all that and washed my car and my truck, um, which that took a while. That was quite the exercise. My car isn't that hard to wash, even though it's a pretty large car, but my truck is a little hard to wash just because trucks are so high up off the ground. In order to get to the roof of my truck, I have to like climb up into the bed and then up onto the toolbox that's on it. And yeah, it's quite the process, but I did that. And I have been working on all the stuff that I bought in the last couple weeks of my old job, organizing all of that. So I need to keep doing that. I need to finish that. There's a lot of stuff that I've bought in those last few weeks while I had that really good employee discount. Um Gosh. Oh, and I also dumped a bunch of games. I've been playing with emulators for a couple months now, I guess. Over a month. I guess about a month and a half. And I dumped a bunch of games yesterday, mostly games that are just in spots that it's hard for me to get to. So I was like, you know, I don't grab these games out of here very much anyway. It was mostly PS2 games, and I was like, well, I'll dump these because they do run better on the emulator than they do on an actual PS2 anyway. And then also I don't have to dig them out every time I want to play them. Um, but I also dumped a handful of PS3 games because something I'd like to try to do once I finish some other things that I've been working on is I'd like to work on try to figure out if I can figure out how to make some mods for console exclusive games via like emulators and stuff. And I've got some ideas already for a couple of different games. Um, and I need to well I dumped a bunch of PS2 games just because they run better and everything, but I dumped a handful of PS3 games that I think are interesting that might be fun to try to modify. um, but yeah, for example, a couple things that I have ideas for already that I think could work are Infamous 2 and possibly Infamous 1. Very small mod ideas because I really don't know what I'm doing. But then there's Dog's Life on PS2, and there was another one that I was just thinking of that was a PS2 game. Dog's Life. Oh no, it wasn't a PS2 game. Fallout New Vegas on PS3. There's a lot of mods for Fallout New Vegas already on the PC version of Fallout New Vegas, but I realized something that I think could be interesting to make a mod for the console version of New Vegas. And none of these mods are going to be particularly like super big or anything, but I just think it'd be interesting to do and to make some videos about, just kind of as ideas to maybe other people could further expand on them, people who know what they're doing more than I do perhaps. uh and I might even, I think I said this on the last stream, I might even make a GitHub page, because even though I'm not gonna have probably any like software that I develop or anything, I do think documentation wise some of the things that I might work on actually might kind of fit for that kind of thing. um but yeah, that's what I've been up to. It's been really busy. I still have a handful of days before I start my new job, so hopefully I can get some more things done. I haven't really worked on any videos yet, which is kind of unfortunate because I meant to, but I just haven't quite gotten to it. Visiting my granny was really nice, but it did kind of take up a big chunk of the days that I've had off. Um, but it has been so relaxing. You know, I talked on stream before about how I felt like my old job was like giving me sinus issues and making me feel sick all the time and everything. I really have felt significantly better since I've not been working there anymore, not having to go into that giant dusty building that I was working in. Um, like the other day, even when I was coming back from my granny's and I stopped at that huge Chinese buffet, I ate quite a bit of stuff, and I just noticed that I didn't feel as weird afterwards as I used to when I would eat a bunch of stuff, like after I would have a shift at my old job or whatever. And I don't know exactly what it is, but yeah, I just feel a lot better. Speaking of that, though, I still have not had dinner today, and it's like almost 10 p.m. and I really kind of want to eat something. Um, I had a really nice lunch though. There's a Greek restaurant that I like that's kind of far away, and I don't go to that often. But I went there, and they have really good sandwiches. So I had two of those, and they were really good. I'm drinking a Gator Light. Um, Ever since I had that scare with the low potassium dehydration thing that looked like a stroke but wasn't, I've been paying more attention to like vitamins and minerals and stuff like that in my daily diet. And even though I'm probably still not eating perfectly, I've been trying to be a little more cognizant of that kind of thing, because it really is incredible. It made me realize just how easy it really is to accidentally deprive yourself of like various minerals and stuff and vitamins and stuff like that you're supposed to have every day. um it really is crazy, sort of the recommended amounts of those things and how hard it actually can be to get those. um But yeah, Gatorlight is kind of like a. It's made by Gatorade, and the name almost reminds me of like Pedialyte, I think, or whatever, which is like for kids, I think, or maybe I'm thinking of Pediasure. I don't know. But anyway, it's like a Gatorade that's like even more intense, I guess, on electrolytes. Which I didn't really do that much today, but still, I figure it's a source of stuff that is important. So, speaking of sports and exercise and stuff, I something I kind of want to try to do soon is I've been thinking about different ways to get more exercise, and I think I might try to start skateboarding. Um, which I feel old saying that in my mid 20s. um, but I snowboarded when I was younger and I really enjoyed it. And I live somewhere so warm now though that we don't get enough snow to go snowboarding or anything. And so skateboarding is and I don't live near the ocean, so I can't surf. So skateboarding is kind of the next best thing. And I have a skateboard. I just haven't really skateboarded that much, but I decided to just look online and see if there were skate parks around. Turns out there's a skate park in a town nearby that I drove by it the other day just to check it out. And it actually it's pretty small, but it's a really nice looking skate park. And also the day that I went, it would have been like prime time for people to be skateboarding, and there wasn't really anybody skateboarding, so it seems like it probably doesn't get used that much, which would be kind of nice for somebody new. Um, but I want to get proper equipment first. I want to get some elbow pads, knee pads, helmet, stuff like that because I don't want to break anything. um, but I'd like to do that. And then a while ago, I talked about how I went bowling one time and recently and really enjoyed it. I think I want to try to do that as well. Even though bowling isn't necessarily like a super workout intense sport, I think it would be nice. And I don't even need any equipment for that one really right off the bat. But I would like to get my own shoes and ball for that. Especially because I've found that the heavier, oh my god, the heavier bowling balls seem to work the best for me. Um, but also skateboarding. I wanted to tell you guys about something really cool that I saw the other day that I wanted to mention in case anybody else wants to check it out. Um, Also, hang on, I got a text. Oh, it was yeah. I bought a brain rot plushie that I found. Um, but so and my girlfriend was texting me about the brain rot plushie. Sorry, I totally lost my train of thought. I found out about this thing called the PSL the other day, the Professional Skateboarding League, and it was just a totally random find. I was laying in bed and just looking at stuff on my iPad, and on YouTube that popped up as one of my suggested things. Probably because I've been getting into watching sports lately, anyway. Um, Sports betting stuff has kind of had the opposite effect on me as most people I think, where a lot of people are into sports and then they get into sports betting, whereas for me it was that I decided to play around with sports betting and then actually just ended up enjoying some of the sports, and now I don't even bet on them most of the time. um, but anyway, so it's YouTube suggested me the PSL, and I didn't realize it was actually the PSL finals, but it was really cool to watch. I actually got up out of bed, turned on my TV, pulled up YouTube on my TV, and was watching it on my TV. And it's like it's a really interesting skateboarding competition because I've not really seen anything like it before. So it's a game of skate, or horse is also that was how I knew it when I was younger because that was what Tony Hawk Games called it. And pretty much that is where you do a trick, and somebody, normally it's like one on one, right? So you'll have yourself and then a competitor, and you'll do a trick, and then they have to try to match that trick. And if they can't match that trick, then they get a letter, and then it's 5 letters of whatever word you're spelling out. And so whoever gets all 5 letters first loses. And so that's kind of how this PSL is set up. They have a staircase with 2 railings, and it's one team goes at a time. And I don't remember exactly how the team stuff worked. I looked it up online, but it's like they have think it's like there's like 6 players or 5 players on a team, but only 3 compete at one time or whatever. So if you're on, I guess what you would consider offense, then you have unlimited goes, but you can only miss 3 tricks. So it's like you you would go, you would do your trick. The other team has to try to match your trick. If they match your trick, you do not get a point. If they don't match your trick, you get a point. If when you initially try to do your trick, if you fail, then you like get a strike almost, and there's like 3 strikes. And then when 3 strikes have happened, your team is out, and then it swaps to the other team, and they're on offense, and you have to try to match their tricks to block points. And then when they strike out, sort of, the strikes are the easiest thing to come to mind because it's 3, and it kind of works in a similar way. When they like strike out, then that quarter is over, and there's 4 quarters. It's kind of, I feel like I'm probably not doing the best job of explaining it because I just woke up from a nap, and my brain is kind of all over the place right now. But it's really interesting, and if you haven't seen it before, you can look at the PSL YouTube channel, and they have all sorts of games. And I think a lot of people maybe discovered it about the same time I did because they didn't really have that. There's not that many subscribers on their YouTube channel, but there was like almost 20,000 people watching, I think, when I was watching. Um, so yeah, I the only thing is too though, it's only like a 6 week season for the PSL. I think it started in February and then it ended in March. Um, well, yeah, March is today is only the first day of April, so yeah, it ended in March. Because it's the other day. But I really hope that they have more than like one season in a year because I'd be sad to have to wait another year to catch the full season of that because that was really cool to watch. Also, skateboarding seems to me like more of a summer sport than a winter sport, but they played in California, so it's warm there all the time. Um, it's kind of warm here all the time too, but not not as much as California. Um, but yeah. Speaking of that, it's April Fool's Day today. I don't have any pranks, unfortunately. Every year, I think that I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do some sort of silly April Fool's prank, and then it sneaks up on me, and I never actually end up getting it done with. But maybe next year, I will think ahead enough to do an April Fool's prank on the channel. I was looking to see if there was any interesting gaming April Fool's pranks this year, because normally there's some sort of cool thing that's going on April Fool's. There's always like some sort of announcement that people didn't expect that's real, or there's like some silly game mode that gets introduced or whatever to a game. But honestly, this year seems kind of light on the April Fool's stuff. But I think holidays in general have been kind of just sneaking up on a lot of people. I think that a lot of people have just kind of not really had the time or the focus to be able to focus on holidays very much over the past few years. Um, but hopefully the world can get back into it because I think holidays are important. Um, that'll be something nice with my new job too, is that I'll have holidays off again finally. My old job and my restaurant job even before that, I didn't get any holidays off except for Thanksgiving and Christmas. But with my new job, I get every holiday that's like a bank holiday off. So that'll be nice. And there's usually at least like one of those a month, so. Trying to figure out, I didn't really expect to get this hungry, but I'm trying to figure out now what I want to eat. Um, I don't really think there's going to be anywhere to go because most stuff is going to be closed by the time that I finish this stream, except for like pizza places. But and Taco Bell, I guess, and gas stations. But one of the gas stations near me just recently got rid of one of my favorite things that they sell, which is annoying. They had this really good chicken that I liked. Hadn't seen it for a couple days, and I asked them about it the other day, and they were like, "Oh no, we're replacing that with." They're replacing it with it was a garlic parmesan chicken, and they said they're replacing it with a like spicy hot chicken, and I was like, really? Come on. I actually got some new games today, I would tell you guys what they are, but they are not near me right now. I put them over on one of the mini stacks of games that I have to sort through. But what did I get? I feel like well, I got Killing Floor 2, physical copy of that finally. Um, did I get anything else interesting? I got like 5 games. Went to a game store that I've been to a couple times. Their prices, they opened up not that long ago, and I think they're trying to undercut the other game store that's in the same city, because they sort of popped up and their prices are significantly lower than other places around. And since they just opened, I think they're trying to get people in the store still, with the low prices. But what was it? One of them was like a mech game on Xbox. I can't remember what it was, but it was one that had pretty good reviews, and it wasn't Mech Assault. Um, that's annoying. I can't remember the name of it. I also bought on PS5, which I'll have to check out. I bought Screamer, which I have next to me. Walmart, actually, some Walmarts have Screamer in stock in person, which I was surprised to find. I saw a while ago at one of my local Walmarts, they actually had a little advertisement for it, and it said like Screamer coming out on the 26th, I think. This game came out. It came out a little while ago, actually. I guess it's like a week ago. Or no, 8 days ago. I don't know how the math works out. But they had it in stock, and not only did they have it in stock, but they had a steelbook edition that I think was cheaper than like the non steelbook edition at GameStop or anything. So that's cool. I bought that, and I'm looking forward to checking that out. I don't usually watch reviews of games, but I had heard so little about that I watched a review of it from somewhere, and it actually seems really fun. And then I also got Toxic Commando. Was that the name of it? John Carpenter's Toxic Commando? Because I've heard that it's actually a pretty solid sort of Call of Duty like, I guess, or like zombies, not Call of Duty like, but kind of like zombies like, or I don't think that it has asymmetrical multiplayer or Left 4 Dead like, or whatever it is, like the four people against some sort of apocalypse. Um, so I'm actually looking forward to playing that because I think that's based off of a movie which I haven't seen, but nevertheless the gameplay of it actually looks pretty cool from what I've seen. So I will have to check that out. But I have Black Ops 7 still installed. I finished that a while ago, and I need to like uninstall that. But it's one of those things where it's a game that is so big that I've been debating: is there anything else that I want to do in Black Ops 7 before I uninstall it? Because I didn't finish Endgame. I finished the campaign of Black Ops 7, but I didn't really play with Endgame at all. And you don't need PlayStation Plus actually to play Endgame solo. So I kind of want to try to finish Endgame. I know that there is sort of a goal in Endgame and like an objective and sort of like a thing you can finish, but I also don't know if I care enough to really do it because I've heard that it can be kind of hard to do and probably takes more than one attempt. Um, but we'll see because I might do that before I delete it. I wish that it's so frustrating how prices on SSDs and everything like that went just skyrocketing because I was thinking not long before all these prices for all this stuff went up about I was like, oh, maybe I should get a 2 terabyte drive for my PS5 and want to get like a couple SSDs for my game collection for the games that I've been dumping and stuff. And then prices have gone insane. I actually have recently seen at a couple stores near me, they finally have SSDs back in stock. Somehow they have WD Black ones actually, which I was surprised about because I thought WD Black was getting replaced by like SanDisk something. But it's the prices on them are insane. I think the prices have gone down a little bit, but there was one that it was 2 terabytes and it was like over $400, which is absurd. Because in my brain, 1 terabyte at most should be like $100, if even that. Because I bought a 1 terabyte drive for my PS3 a year ago, and it was like $60, and I think it was a Crucial drive, so it was like a brand name drive and everything. And it wasn't like an M.2 SSD or anything like that. But it's just, yeah, those prices are crazy, and I'm not willing to pay that much money for that. Um, Thanks, AI data centers. um, Instead, at least for my game dumping stuff, I actually bought a hard drive. Because hard drives, since those are probably too slow for AI nonsense, those have not really been getting bought up. And I think a lot of people, nobody really buys hard drives anymore, I don't think. Just because they have sort of a reputation of being just worse in a lot of ways than SSDs. But really, they're fine. Like if you can't afford an SSD right now or don't want to spend money on an SSD right now, hard drives still work okay for a lot of the same stuff. I had already bought external enclosures for SATA drives and M.2 drives. But so I ended up buying this pretty big, like it's kind of bulky, internal sort of it's gosh, what is it? A WD Blue drive. It's 2 terabytes, which realistically I could have used a larger one, but I didn't want to buy a larger one right then because it was like I was at Walmart and the 2 terabyte one was significantly cheaper than the 4 terabyte one. Um, but it works fine. I mean, yeah, sure, it's probably a little bit slower than an SSD, but to store all of these game dumps that I've been doing, it works totally fine. I am a little concerned though that it might fill up faster than I anticipated because I had looked up online like what's the biggest PlayStation 3 game because I wanted to do some math of how big of a drive I would need. And I saw something online about how the biggest game on PS3 was I think like God of War 3. It's like 30 something gigabytes. Turns out though that a lot of PS3 games and just 7th generation games in general because I've dumped a handful of Wii U games as well, they actually are a lot they're actually pretty large when you dump them. So a lot of them are 20 gigabytes, 30 gigabytes, 15 gigabytes. So that all adds up pretty fast. So I'm thinking I may actually run out of space. But yeah. Speaking of Wii U though, Wii U games are so weird to dump. It's so weird. Every game console has some sort of quirk about how you dump the games for it. Like PS1 and PS2 are both relatively easy to dump because they're on unencrypted CDs and DVDs, so you can just use a normal disk drive for those, but you have to have certain software. And then sometimes some software works with some things and sometimes it doesn't work with other things. Like the media preservation front end, I think is what PCSX2's emulation, like the emulator, their website recommends. And I found that the media preservation front end works fine for DVD based PS2 games for me, but it doesn't work for PS1 games, and it also doesn't work for CD based PS1 games. So that is not perfect. So now when I want to dump PS1 games, I have been using Linux, and there's a program on there. I can't remember what the name of it is though, because I don't have that many PS1 games. So I just spent a couple hours one day dumping all of them, and I don't think I'm gonna buy any more anytime soon, probably. But so I used Linux for that, and then for dumping CD-based PS2 games, I've used my Mac because you can actually just use disk utility on Mac for that, and that's worked mostly fine. Although there was a demo disk for Burnout 3 that I actually made a video on one time that wasn't working for that. So I don't know what the issue was with that. And then but then like you move on to other consoles and it's like, okay, so for PS3, some Blu-ray drives can dump PS3 games, but it's recommended to have modded PS3. So I have my PS3 with Henkaku on it, and so I've used that to dump games on PS3. And then on Wii U, I have a modded Wii U, but then I found out that there's actually a thing called dumpling that's a exploit through the Wii U browser that you don't need a modded console for, and that's what Simu for Wii U, the emulator for Wii U recommends to use. And so I was having trouble getting dumpling to run on the web browser on my modded Wii U, so I ended up using my unmodded Wii U to dump the games. And then the dumping software on my modded Wii U wasn't wanting to read games anyway, probably because I had issues with my modded Wii U's disk drive. So yeah, it's just Good God. And then the thing with Wii U though is using dumpling, like the games are not dumped, they're dumped in a format that works for Cemu, but they're not dumped in a format that works on an actual Wii U, I don't think. So then you have to like convert them back or something like that. So that's confusing. And then this is only what, like four consoles, and then there's also the Wii and the GameCube, and then to dump either of those you need a modded Wii, but then I was able to like use CleanRip to dump GameCube games, but then it didn't want to work with Wii games for me, so then I had to use a different software for Wii games, and yeah, it is quite the process. But after I'm done with the stream today, I might work a little bit more on that. Because yesterday I was doing like three things at once. I had PS2 games dumping on my computer, and then I was dumping PS3 games on my PS3, and then I was also watching Boondocks. um, so I'm on season 3 of Boondocks, and I only have like half of an episode left to finish watching that, and then I think I actually might watch the Purge movies. That was something that I bought in the last couple days of my old job with my discount, and I've been wanting to watch those, so I might start working on watching those. There's only 5 of them, so there's not a ton. Thinking I'll probably do this stage, and then I will end the stream because I just wanted to mostly give updates on what I've been up to, I guess. Hopefully can get some videos done soon, but it's just videos just they just always end up getting put on the back burner. I wasn't really having any issues staying in first, but last race and this race, Alice Lopre is kind of getting in front of me. I don't know why I'm using this truck actually. I got this one, I unlocked this one, but there was another one that I'd been using that was a Japanese team, and that truck was working way better than this one, I think. I also finished playing Battlefield 3 finally. I've been wanting to just kind of sit down and play some games, and Battlefield 3 was one that I never actually had played through at all, really. So I played through that on PS3, and funny enough, speaking of dumping games and modded consoles and everything, my disc for Battlefield 3 has this crack that's in like the center ring, and it's not into the data section of it, but it is probably going to ruin that disc eventually. I actually got it that way because I ordered it online from GameStop during one of their sales on retro games because PS3 is retro now, I guess. Um, but and so I actually dumped it and then played the dump of it so that way I didn't have to keep using the disc. Battlefield 3 is more timely than I expected. Because I'm not gonna get too into real world events, but pretty much it's about a war between the U.S. and Iran. Um, and but yeah, so I played through that, and that was cool. Although that game does not run very well at all on PS3, and I have a new PS3 controller that I got, and it's a third party one, and it works pretty well. And I couldn't tell though if the sensitivity of Battlefield 3 seemed off to me, and I'm not sure if it was my controller or the game. Um, but overall, I enjoyed it. It did make me realize something though. So there's a couple missions in that game where you play as a Russian GRU agent, and he's a good guy, kind of. He's working towards the same goals as like the American protagonist of the game, and again, not to get super into real world stuff, but it's kind of sad to see that like I was thinking about it. There's really not. I feel like I haven't seen as much Russian cultural stuff in the U.S. ever since the whole war between Russia and Ukraine happened. And like I'm not gonna get into politics on it, but regardless, like it's like civilians in Russia
are obviously not responsible necessarily for what their government does. Um, and I guess, well, I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but long story short, it's kind of sad how I feel like there was a lot of cultural exchange between the US and Russia for a pretty long time, even though technically we're like opposed countries in a lot of ways, and people are always worried that like there's going to be a big war between Russia and the US. But like playing a game where you play as a Russian character for a little bit and stuff, it just made me realize how, yeah, like I really haven't seen, people on YouTube visiting Russia, or like Russian YouTubers making videos or anything, like things like that. Um, it's weird to talk about because it's like everything is so hard to like explain almost, I guess. But yeah, it's weird to think of that. Um, But anyway, now that I've thoroughly messed my words up and probably said the wrong thing, um, thank you guys for watching. I'm going to end the stream once I finish the sponsor wheel, I guess. Let's get this RD limited. Set that. And then I think, don't I have to do, or is it in my warehouse? Yes. Wait, I need to move a vehicle to the warehouse, and then wait, no. Oh gosh. View warehouse, Dakar. Can I not move this? Wait. Where? No. New vehicle. Wait, no. Oh, I'm so confused. Move from warehouse. Dakar 20. This one. Confirm. Do I have to do... No, I guess not. Sometimes when you get a new vehicle, you have to do like certain races, but I guess not all the time. But anyway, okay, I'm going to end the stream there. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you in other